caffeine is a really controversial topic. There are many benefits, but also a lot of drawbacks when consuming it. So in today's video, I wanted to make everything really clear for you guys so that you can make your own decision on whether you should or should not consume caffeine. It is also the most consumed drug on the planet. Because yes, coffee and caffeine is a drug. It's a psychoactive substance. It has an effect on the neurochemistry in your brain. It changes your awareness, your perception of the world, so it is considered a drug. So let's start with some of the advantages of taking caffeine. We'll then go with the drawbacks a little bit later on. Now, of course, I'm not going to be able to go through every single drawback and benefit of caffeine because there are some that are really documented and proven by science, and others that are just hypothetical, that I have seen a few links here and there that don't really mean a lot. So I'm going to speak about the main ones, the most proven ones, and sometimes I'm just going to mention the ones that are not proven yet, so that you might have an idea of some benefits or drawbacks that might actually exist, but we're not really sure about it. So let's start with the benefits of caffeine. It has a lot of different effects, so let's go through them right now. The first one is actually weight loss. If you didn't know, caffeine has a really strange effect on hunger. When you consume caffeine, you tend to be less hungry for a little while. So some people consume caffeine just for the effect of weight loss. And it also has an effect, it increases thermogenesis. And what thermogenesis is the fact that your body is burning calories. And actually, when you burn calories, you lose weight. So when people mix these two things together, they tend to say that caffeine helps with weight loss. Now, of course, you don't drink caffeine and coffee in the morning to help with weight loss. I don't know a lot of people that do so. What I know though is that people consume caffeine for the more neurochemistry in the brain effects that it might have. You might know it, of course, if you've ever tried caffeine before. It helps you a lot with feeling awake, feeling aware of what's around you, of your body and stuff like that. So people drink it in the morning so that they feel woken up, ready to get and go through the day. It also helps with athletic performances. Of course, you might know this. People consume caffeine in the form of pre-workout, before going to a workout or while working out. The effect that caffeine has over the body is that it increases performances. This has been proven many times. It increases endurance and strength, and it also makes you less tired. So when you're going through long sessions of sport, at the end you might be less tired if you actually drink coffee before. But you also have to remember that when I'm speaking about benefits, sometimes this can be considered bad things too. For example, with sleep. If you drink coffee, you're gonna have a bad time sleeping. And this is because of the effect it has on your brain, which makes you more aware. It actually blocks some receptors that you have on the brain for the hormone that is responsible for you feeling sleepy. So when you take this in the morning, you might not feel sleepy immediately, but you might have a crash on the beginning of the afternoon, depending on when you actually started drinking it. So sometimes the benefits of caffeine are really temporary and are gonna hit you back a little bit later on in the day. So don't forget about this too. Now I'm gonna speak about a little bit of the things that are potential benefits. We're not really sure about it. There are studies made on it, but we still don't have any clear answers on this. We've seen some correlation, but that doesn't mean that they are causing each other. So there are, for example, the fact that it improves brain function and less brain decay over the age. So for example, people that drink coffee tend to have a brain in better shape when they get older. So is it true or not? We don't really know right now. We've seen just a little bit of links. There's also the fact that it helps potentially with Parkinson and Alzheimer's disease. We've seen also a link with people consuming caffeine and not being as hit with these kind of illnesses, and a huge range of other kind of benefits that I'm yeah, this are probably bullshit and there are almost no proof, so I'm not even going to speak about them. But I want to make yourself a very clear idea on is it worth it for you to drink caffeine? Is it good for your body in your opinion or not? I'm now going to speak about the drawbacks of drinking caffeine. Now, if you don't know, I actually don't drink coffee at all. I used to drink at least once a day, every morning, sometimes twice. And I feel the substance of caffeine pretty strongly, personally. I know some people don't, but I definitely do. So if I drink caffeine after lunch, for example, I know that I'm gonna have a bad sleep. And that's just the way it is for me. It's really strong. It also makes my stomach upset. It also makes me have some crashes later on in the day. So these are things that I took into consideration, and I was like, okay, maybe that's not for me. It's not worth it to take caffeine for the boost in the morning if I get a crash in the afternoon. I prefer having more stable energy levels throughout the day. But let's go through the big drawbacks of caffeine, because having a crash in the afternoon I guess it's okay if you don't really mind it. But there are cases where you really shouldn't consume caffeine at all. For example, if you experience anxiety or depression, these have been strongly linked together, where if you consume caffeine, coffee, or any kind of like energy drinks or whatever, when you have anxiety, it's gonna get way worse. The reason is, since it's speeding up your heart rate, it's making your muscle pumps, it's making you more aware of what's around you and of yourself. You're gonna be more aware of your anxiety, and it makes it way worse. Your heart is speeding up, so it's like having a panic attack pretty much. If you mix anxiety with caffeine, it's gonna be a bad ending for you, pretty sure. It has also been linked that depression is not helped when you consume caffeine. It might actually get worse when you consume it. So be careful with that. Especially since on this channel, I like to advocate for like good mental health and shit like that. If you have any issues like depression, anxiety, don't touch caffeine. Another drawback of caffeine is that it might actually make you more insulin resistant, which means you get more like sugar spikes during the day. It's an effect that they don't really explain yet, but we just know that, first of all, when you drink caffeine in the morning with like a coffee or whatever, and there's sugar inside of it, you're gonna have a spike in sugar in the morning, which is not something you really want. And especially if you drink energy drinks, this is even worse because these are filled with caffeine and sugar. So the mix of the two is really not that good for you. And if you are overweight or obese or whatever, and you have, for example, diabetes, or even if you were born with diabetes, with type 1 diabetes, you might actually like, it might be really bad for you to drink caffeine because you don't want energy like sugar spikes in your blood when you have this kind of conditions. And as I said, of course, there's the big one, sleep. We all know that caffeine is bad for sleep. And even if you manage to sleep, that's a really interesting thing. If you manage to sleep after you drink caffeine, like you don't have any issues going to sleep, your sleep quality is fucked up. This is also something that made me choose to stop caffeine because I really like want to have good sleep, like good quality sleep. And I know that caffeine is bad for that, so I'm really like trying to avoid it at all costs. And also there's one thing that I didn't really talk about yet is the fact that caffeine can cause addictions. Not like hard addictions or whatever, but as I said, it's a drug. It has an effect on the brain, and the more you take it, the less it's gonna have an effect on you. So pretty much what it does, the behavior that goes around this is that first you start drinking maybe one coffee from time to time just to have a little hit and you like it. And then when you take this coffee, you're not gonna feel this much of a hit. So you're like, oh, maybe I can drink 2 coffees, and you drink 2 and you're like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that's the boost I wanted. And then you start increasing and increasing over time. And the problem is, it's gonna get less and less effective. So you have to drink more and more caffeine for the same effect. Also, the thing is, when you want to stop, I can guarantee you I've done it multiple times where I was drinking caffeine every day and stopping like cold turkey. You're gonna get the worst fucking headaches for at least 3 days. 3 days where you can take whatever you want and you're gonna have this headache. Like you can sleep like a baby, you can take like medications, anti-inflammatory, whatever. You're gonna have a fucking headache. At least for me, because I know that I feel the caffeine really strongly. Some people don't. Or some people say they don't, they never really tried to stop caffeine cold turkey. If you do so, you are addicted to caffeine, so watch out. You're gonna have symptoms just like if you stop taking any other drug. But in my opinion, if I were to take and like go back to the biggest drawback in my opinion, it will have to be the link with mental health, because having a bad mental health has an effect on your entire life and it fucks up everything around you. So I swear, if I see one person in the comments or watching this video that has anxiety or depression and that is drinking coffee, you guys know it's making it worse for you. You have to stop it. It's going to be one way for you to actually reduce the symptoms of anxiety and depression and help you heal the main issue. And also, if you don't know what to do with these mental health issues, you have anxiety, depression, you're really lost and you don't know what to do, I actually coach people to get better with that. And if you actually click in the link down in the description, the first link that you see, I have a coaching program, a one-on-one coaching program where I teach people to get better with these issues, like treating mental health issues, anxiety, depression, things like that. Because I was experiencing severe anxiety when I was younger and now I don't. So I teach people how to do that. And if you don't want to spend the money on a program, you can subscribe and watch my other videos for free, because I make a lot of content like this on this channel, which hopefully is helping you guys to get better. So what will it be for you? Would you actually want to continue taking caffeine or start taking caffeine, or would you actually stop or just not drink it at all? Let me know in the comments down below so I can see like if I change the mind of some people by making this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.